Working with Lexi on recall, and we did some work outside with it. It's like anything, when they're outside, they're distracted and it's much harder. She comes pretty well, unless she's just kind of not feeling it and she's like, yeah, I don't want to come in yet. And in that case, what you want to do, you want to use a high value treat for come. It's one of the few that I say use the highest value possible. Because you want to be more interesting than whatever else is outside. So if I use something like cheese or meatballs, hot dogs, all that kind of stuff, I'm going to actually step on her leash. You're going to see that that's going to prevent her from jumping. If you use something like that and you only use it for recall, then it starts to have a real strong value. So I'll use it when I'm practicing recall, but at short distances. And then build up from there. And so then they think, oh my gosh, this is the best thing in the world. Every time I come to my person, I get cheese, for instance. But we want to start off teaching her just, in a simple way. And come. So I'm luring her with my hand. Come. Almost like I'm pulling a string for her to come to me. Good girl. What are you doing behind me? Come. And you do this over and over until it's really ingrained. Come. And each time she gets to you, she should sit. Lexi, come. Come. Yes, good girl. Now, the yes happens when she starts coming towards you. Get her to kind of wander away from me. The thing you want to practice outside is when they're distracted by something, but you're only a few feet away, and then you do it. Lexi, come. Yes. And so that yes, again, is as she's coming toward me. It's not when she gets to me, because I want her to know that it's coming towards me that she's getting rewarded for. Lexi, come. Lexi. Lexi. Look. Come. Good. Of course, when you have treats, they don't leave your side. Lexi, Lexi, come. Lexi, look. Come. Yes. Good girl. So you're going to do that over and over and over, all through the house. Another thing you can do is play hide and go seek. You have one person hold her, the other person goes in the other room and calls her to them, and they get a reward or she gets a reward when they get to them. Good girl. The other game that you can play is to have her one person on one side of the room, another person on the other side, and do kind of monkey in the middle, where she goes back and forth when she's called. It's even better if you have 3 or 4 people, because then she really has to listen to who's calling her. Good job. Okay, so the other part of losing my mind, of recall, is to teach her something called touch. And the game of touch goes like this. You take a treat and you put it in your fingers. And you put a flat hand out and you say, touch. Yes. Good girl. She comes, bops her nose on your hand, and she gets the treat. You let go of the treat. Come here, girl. Touch. Yes. And then you do it with the other hand. Touch. Yes. Touch. Yes. Touch. Yes. Good girl. The reason you're doing this is to make a game out of it and make it really fun. So if you say come and your dog doesn't come, and you say touch instead, then they come and they bop their nose on your hand, touch, because they think it's fun. And they're like, oh, I'm not having to go inside. I get to go play a game with mom instead. Touch. That's a girl. That's it. Good job. So touch and come are kind of interchangeable. Basically depending on how much they're willing to come in at the time. I've used touch with her outside. Sometimes she'll stand outside the door and I'll say, come on in, come inside. And I'll be holding the door open and she'll just stand there and look at me. So then I say touch and she comes running in. So that's very helpful to use when you're doing recall. It can take months and months of practice to get really good, reliable recall. So you want to do it in all different scenarios and all different places so that she gets better and better at it. I know. Touch! Yes, good girl. And she'll get there. It's just, it can take a long time to really make it happen because the squirrel that's out there is much more interesting than I am. So I just have to be more fun and more interesting. It's one time you want to use a high voice, an excited voice, excited movements, and so forth to get her to come to you. Good job.